Nemesis Sub Terra at Alton Towers has finally been announced to open on the 27th of May. It's been rumoured since the end of the 2022 season when Nemesis closed that this former dark ride attraction, which closed in 2015, would be returning. And now it has been confirmed by an email by the Phalanx inviting us to view their work on the newly recommissioned Phalanx research facility, and that research facility is Sub Terra. In today's video, I'm going to be talking all about this attraction and what to expect when it does open up again. Now, it is looking like the story is going to be the same as it was back when it closed in 2015, but we'll just have to wait and see. I could be wrong. But before we get on into the video, if you do enjoy watching, then please hit that like button to let me know. And if you are new around here, then please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing, because we make plenty of theme park and adventure videos here which you don't want to miss. Also, this video will contain spoilers, so if you never got the chance to ride Sub Terra before it closed back in 2015 and you want to keep it a surprise, then turn off this video right now. So, Nemesis Sub Terra, what is it? Well, unlike the original Nemesis, it's not a roller coaster. It's a dark ride, which means it's all indoors, just like Hex's or the new ride for 2023, the Curse at Alton Manor. Both of those dark rides at Alton Towers are spooky themed, but Nemesis Sub Terra is different. The theme focuses on the discovery of a nest of eggs in caves underneath Forbidden Valley. The theme is around Nemesis, as the name implies. However, if you were to visit Alton Towers for the first time and had no knowledge of what Nemesis was, then you'd still understand the story of the ride. Now, even though Sub Terra is a ride, just like Hex, it's not just a ride, it has pre-shows, and it also has a little scare maze at the end as well. As you approached the entrance to Sub Terra, you'd be greeted by some Phalanx operatives who would shout at you and order you to stand in front of two elevators. Now, these aren't actual working elevators, but for this ride, we need to pretend that they are real. And to be honest with you, they do a good job of making you feel like you're actually inside an elevator. They use lighting, special effects. I think they used the same effects in the recent scare attraction. What was it called? I've actually forgotten the name of it. What was it called again? The Invitation. There we go. Oh, that shows you how memorable that experience was. But back onto Sub Terra. Before you go into those elevators, you're shown a video which shows you the backstory of the ride. And this story would tell you how one of the Nemesis creature's eggs had been made safe for viewing by the public. And after this, you'd then enter those lifts, and as I said, as you travel underground in that elevator, there would be cool sounds and effects that gave you the illusion that you were actually inside of a lift being lowered beneath Forbidden Valley. And as you exit the elevator, it would reveal a cabin-themed room, and it would have rocks everywhere, and it would really make you feel like you've actually travelled underground. And then you'd enter the main chamber, which had 4 rows of seats. I believe it was 10 people per row, and they'd all be facing each other, but it had an egg in the middle, and that was the Nemesis egg. And as you take your seat, you'd then pull a lap bar down and wait for the next part of the ride to commence. The ride would begin, and on some TV screens it would show you what the egg was, how it got there, and how it had started to show some signs of life. But then all the lights would cut out and there'd be a few different lighting effects going on, just to make you feel like there was some sort of power failure. But then, as the lights came back on, it would reveal the egg, but it wasn't how it was before. You'd find out that that egg had hatched. The egg had actually hatched. And this is where the best part of the ride would begin, because you'd hear sound effects coming all around the chamber to make you feel like the Nemesis creature was running around. And then each row of seats would free-fall drop 6 meters below the chamber. And what was really cool about this is that they all didn't drop at the same time. They'd all drop individually with the lights out. So you didn't know when your time was going to come, and that really built up the anticipation, unless you were the first to drop, of course. So you drop 6 meters to the bottom of the chamber, which is slightly taller than 13's drop. So if you've ever been on 13 and you don't like that drop, then Sub Terra is probably not the ride for you. But yeah, you drop to the bottom of that chamber and it reveals more eggs around you, which, as part of the story, aren't safe to view by the public. As this was happening, there'd be loads of lighting effects going on, loads of sound effects. It's a really cool, immersive experience, from what I remember anyway, and it was 8 years ago and I can still remember it all. After that, you'd then be raised back up to where you were before you dropped, and then you'd have things happen, like you'd have water sprayed in your face, you'd have something poke you in the back, you'd have little tentacle things tickling your legs, and you'd also have airburst which blew onto your neck, so it felt like the Nemesis creature was right behind you. As your lap bars come up, Phalanx security would then usher you into the elevators again, with all the sirens going off. They'd be shouting at you to hurry as fast as you can. So you'd enter that elevator, but that was far from the end of the ride, because as you go inside of the elevator, all the lights would go out again. And you'd hear noises on the side of the elevator, like the Nemesis creature was trying to attack and get inside. The use of lighting and sound effects were really good on this ride, and I'm hoping they bring them all back, and hopefully they'll even add some more in too. So you'd be inside the elevator and all the lights had gone out and the Nemesis creature was attacking, but when the elevator doors open again, this is where the scare maze part begins. I'll always remember that when those elevator doors opened, you'd be greeted by a Phalanx member in a gas mask with a torch covered in blood. And honestly, I was a little bit younger at the time, of course, and that used to scare me. That used to really scare me. You'd then have to make your way to the exit where there'd be loads of chain link fences around you, and there'd be really powerful strobe lighting going off too. And you'd also have Phalanx operatives jumping out on you. You'd have air cannons going off. Honestly, it was very intense. So yeah, it's not just the ride that makes Sub Terra good. In fact, the ride is just a small part of the whole experience, because it's the bits before and after that really make this ride so great. I've been talking about this ride in past tense because honestly, I didn't think this ride was going to open again. It's been 8 years since it was last open. I thought they were going to put something else inside the Sub Terra building. In previous years, they've actually used it for scare mazes at Scarefest. So I thought they were just going to continue doing that, and I never thought this ride would be opening again, but I'm really glad it is. As I said at the start of the video, it's expected that Sub Terra will have the same story as I've just mentioned, but it's possible they could change it or adjust it slightly with the new story that they've got for Nemesis and the Phalanx, where they're currently investigating the site of Nemesis. So yeah, they could include something like that in the story, but I'm guessing they're going to keep the main part of the story the same. So although the story is appearing to be the same, what has changed is the logo and the colour scheme. Before the logo was green, but now it's red and black to fit in with the new Nemesis colour scheme, which will be opening next year. We've seen the new colour scheme for the Nemesis track, which is black with the red vein design, so it's great to see that Alton Towers are sticking with that colour scheme for Sub Terra 2 to really connect the story between these two attractions. It will all be revealed when it reopens on the 27th of May, and I am very excited to get back on this ride after 8 years. Some people loved it, some people hated it, and I'm looking forward to hearing the opinions of guests who rode it before 2015 to see if they think it's better or worse than it was before, and also hear the first opinions of guests who never experienced it when it first opened. With the reopening of Nemesis Sub Terra, it will also add to the growing list of great dark rides at Alton Towers, because now we'll have Hex, we'll have the Curse at Alton Manor, we'll have Gangster Granny the Ride, and we'll have Sub Terra. Are you looking forward to experiencing Sub Terra? Let me know down in the comments below. But that is it for this video. If you did enjoy watching, then please consider checking out some of my other videos, such as our opening day vlog from Alton Towers, where we checked out the Curse at Alton Manor for the first time, or if you want to find out some tips for Alton Towers for your next visit, then maybe consider checking this video out too. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.